All right, what's going on, guys? I wanted to get the Saturday stream in. This is the second one I'm gonna have to do as a recording, and then tomorrow I'll be back home in the office, and then back there the rest of the week, so we'll be able to do these live. I wanted to get it in, even if we couldn't do it live in these recorded sessions. I do a little bit shorter, just because it just works a lot better if I have you guys asking questions and can kind of bounce off with the flow. But I want to put this out there anyways to kind of go over some of the ideas that I talked about. First, we're going to cover Bitcoin and what's happening here, kind of that retest that I still expect to happen. It's just not happening yet. And we're still seeing a lot of market buys happening. I'm seeing so many rumors of OTC markets going absolutely crazy. So talk a little bit about Bitcoin technically, and then also a pretty big move that just happened right here on BitMEX as well. Past that, want to look at alts. I'm going to look at the two new alt trade ideas from today. One is APPC. Second one is edgeless. We traded edgeless a bunch, but it's just a really nice setup. For those of you guys who have been with me since November, I think we've had like 5 or 6 profitable trades on that. The last one we just moved into was about 2 weeks ago, and that's the only one that's fizzled out. It's still up 8 or 10%, but you know it isn't that 40% or 2x win. Regardless, it's back down to that support entry level, and that's just one of those coins that I kind of, whenever it's at that level, I want to pick that up. So we'll look at that really quick. Just want to go over that idea, especially for the new guys. It's a nice kind of classic range trading setup. So we're going to do all that. I also want to take one look at ETH just on a macro scale. I'm always trying to break down and continue to kind of, let me get all these notes out of here because I'm just going to walk through it. Always want to break down and continue to understand and add data points to kind of this timing guide that I like to use for ETH and all other alts, and kind of how that can help as well with picking other coins and determining what's actually going to happen for alts. And I think having an understanding of that, regardless if you want to use this system like I do, will definitely help you in terms of taking profits or when to move in. So I want to go over that as well. Starting off with Bitcoin, guys, and looking at where we are, I'm honestly pretty surprised that we continue to be bid up without, there's kind of this line already in the sand again. If I'm just picking kind of weak support and resistance areas, right, and I guess they're not too weak, right, because they're being used. I kind of thought this 9,000 level wasn't as strong as 92 or 9,500. That's kind of the major resistance that I'm seeing. I'm basing that major resistance off of that being some pretty big fib levels lining up there. Right, so these are the fib levels that we've used all the way down. The fib level that was used on this kind of last bounce at 6,600. So I really still like that 92 to 9,400 as the next resistance up. I think that's probably going to be the biggest test that we've seen. But for right now, 9,000 held. What I expected to happen today and what I was kind of looking for and what I kind of started the day saying, I expected a retest to have happened by now. What I mean by retest and the retest that I'm looking for here is just simply a retest of this broken resistance line. This is that defining resistance from all-time high. Now that we've broken above it, I think everyone has kind of, said that was kind of the one point that would make them change their view if they were bearish. Maybe not everyone, but I still kind of want and I'm calling it and really looking for that retest, right? So to get down here around this 84, 8,500 level, it would also retest kind of this downtrend line we broke out of, right? And it would also be retesting this old resistance as support now. So I would find that level really attractive. I like to see a retest happen every single time we kind of break a resistance. It gives me more confirmation. It makes you feel a little bit better about a move when a level gets retested and can then prove itself as support. So that's what I'm looking for with Bitcoin. If not though, and it does continue to move up, we're kind of right in between these two zones for me, right? I'm still long on BitMEX. This is that next resistance kind of take profit area for me where I'll probably go neutral again and probably be flat on BitMEX. And that's this 92 or 9,400 area. That's where I want to be taking profits. This is where I would look to build in along. Right now, we're just kind of sitting in these levels of, I view these as kind of weaker levels. I could definitely pick some horizontal levels off this. When I'm picking these horizontal levels, I know someone asked, I do need to do a full session on this and how I'm picking these levels. Really simply, if you're just picking levels based off where peaks are, on 4-hour and daily is what I typically like to use. That's how I pick this 9K level, and they work rather well. I like to use horizontals and trend lines, but I think all you know that by now. So that's all I'm looking at with Bitcoin. Immediate support still at 84, 85. I want the retest. I'm kind of calling for the retest. If not, this is the major test for me. I think we see some serious selling pressure there, but I continue to be bullish. So I like what I'm seeing. It's just a little bit confusing, this consolidation. I guess I do need to be patient with how it plays out. But that's all for Bitcoin, guys. Obviously, the more exciting part and where all the action's happening is the altcoins. So before I dive into those, I do want to look at ETH really quick. And taking a quick look at what I mean as this is the rough timing guide. I've gone over this so many times about this being cheap alts, right? This being expensive alts up here, using this channel just like we use that Bitcoin channel. This is kind of the signal for me that there was kind of a clear reversal in alts, just like the ETH trade that we played last week, or this week I should say. From this support up to this resistance, not only was that, not only can you play it as an ETH trade, but right here I kind of knew, if ETH does make a move, right, and maybe another alt leads the way, maybe it isn't ETH that moves first, but if ETH makes a move and another alt doesn't, it kind of gives you a hint that the rest of the alt market is probably going to follow. So this whole time period that we were hanging out in here, alts really weren't moving, right? But if you look at last week, kind of that segment, this is when alts made their initial move, and then this is when alts made their move this week. And when they peaked out here at the top of the ETH range, is another data point, this was kind of that local high, and this was yesterday or very early this morning. All those alts kind of made that local high before having the initial dip. So ETH, in my opinion, continues to be an excellent kind of rough timing guide. There's definitely a disparity among alts. Not all of them are going to move in the same cycles, depending on exchange, depending on sector, depending on market cap. But it's an excellent guide, and I'm going to continue using it as such. If you want to use it like that, I think it's very helpful. So if some people like to hold on to their alts and not take any profits at all. Some people like to cycle out and are a little more active, taking those 30 or 40% profits and being able to add when it dips on, earlier this morning or on some other coins that you weren't able to get into. Either way, going back to what I said yesterday, I like to keep it simple, buying at supports, selling at resistances. Even if you do nothing, at least not to be buying at resistances and selling at supports. So this kind of goes for all alts. What's interesting now is I'm definitely still bullish alts, and I do want to keep exposure to alts. But what I'm seeing, at least for ETH, and it's not the case for all alts, I'm still seeing a lot of alts kind of stuck at that first resistance or hanging right below that resistance. So that's why I'm not too eager. I know when you look at Twitter and when you look at other places, it definitely gives you FOMO. You feel like you have to act right now and buy every single dip immediately when it happens. Kind of my view on what's happening here, it looks like we could definitely dip more. Honestly, it would be excellent. I would love it if ETH did move back down here, right, and gave another chance to play this trade. I'm not exactly sure that's going to happen, right? Maybe we just move down to a slightly lower support, maybe down in this area. Either way, using kind of how ETH is acting here as a guide for what the rest of the alt market can do, I'm going to continue to do that. So looking at that, also, if ETH makes a break for it, and we're able to pass out of this resistance and be on top and make the next leg up, that's going to be really bullish for alts. And continue to really use this. When ETH gets back up here, maybe you don't have the best guide or the best knack for charting whatever specific coin you're in. It can give you a little hint. Maybe it's a smaller cap coin or it's on IDEX or something. It can give you a little hint that most alts might face a pullback if you can kind of use ETH as a timing guide. So I just wanted to go over that really quick. Again, I think most people understand that one now that I've gone through it a bunch. And then the two alt trade ideas as well today, guys, that I wanted to look at. APPC is one. APPC is one fundamentally that I'm not really too thrilled about, but quite honestly, for some of these trades, really actually especially for some of these trades, honestly, and this sounds a little bit crazy, fundamentals may not matter as much, right? I love when they both align, but really, I've had some really nice success. Edgeless is a great example. I don't think that coin's strong fundamentally at all. I think it's actually a little bit of kind of a disaster fundamentally in how they handle things. I think their team's pretty unprofessional. Their platform's really hard to use, not available in the US. Regardless, it's been a great coin to trade. So AppCoins is kind of the same. At least they are creating a protocol. It's a platform, right, that's attractive. The reason I like this as well, a lot of coins have moved a substantial amount. AppCoins is only up about 20 or 30% from its all-time low down here. Right, so up about 25%. Now that it's broken out of this first resistance, right, if I'm looking at this as kind of the horizontal resistance here, resistance, resistance, once it breaks above, it's now retesting that resistance as support. Right, so that's what I'm looking for there. This initial resistance is kind of, this is based off previous support. Right, so all these support touches here, you can see right when it flips to resistance. So now we're back at that level, price rejected for right now. So if the play is, if it can break this, I imagine the next jump up will be pretty quick. That target right here is also based off previous support, turned resistance, and that's about 80% up. That's the play that I'm looking for at AppCoins. It's on Binance. It's a newer coin. The next big catalyst for this isn't until Q3 2018. But for some of these, I really don't think it matters, right? And I wouldn't take that too much out of context. I'm not saying that fundamentals don't matter about a project. I just think, even some of these coins that a lot of coins, it's more of kind of a macro play. And I think a lot of alts will do well. And when one technically looks this good and it has nice upside, I'll definitely trade it. So that's what I'm looking for with that coin's a little bit of a different look there. I know I haven't charted that coin before, but I like the way it looks. Past that one, Edgeless. I've gone over this one so many times, so I'm going to rush through this one a little bit. But Edgeless, you guys know how many times I've liked to trade this or kind of accumulate this at the all-time low support, and then always looking to sell at kind of this range higher, this 2x level. Right? So we've seen initial accumulation right when the coin hit market, then this massive accumulation. This is kind of the beginning of the previous alt cycle before it spiked up. And now we're starting to see volume trend in the other direction, right? So trending lower all through here. This is kind of that point where now it's starting to trend higher, right? So price is also hanging around all-time low. So that's accumulation. This one's especially attractive in my opinion, right? Not financial advice or anything like that, just what I'm looking at, because this one from all-time low is only up, less than 10%. So that's really hard to find right now in kind of the alt space, are coins that are up that little and that have also behaved this well technically. So I really like Edgeless here. If I can get it definitely below kind of 7,300 sats, I think that's very attractive. I think even, if I'm looking at risk reward on this, I don't even mind kind of scooping some up here. I actually still think that risk reward is attractive. First resistance that I think has any merit is up here at about 30 or 40%. And then, like I said, the target for the real trade is 2x here. So I like this play a lot. It's only on Bittrex, not on Binance yet, but I like Edgeless. It's been a really nice coin to trade. And just technically, it's just such a clean range. It's just behaved so well. So wanted to kind of throw that one out there again. There's a good amount of coins that I like to keep up with and kind of never take my eye off of. And then obviously I'm always adding a few new coins to the list as well, the ones that stand out. But Edgeless is kind of one of those classics for me. That's all I really had, guys. Like I said, I keep these a little bit shorter. It's kind of different, just me talking to a screen and recording it, as opposed to doing one live. So tomorrow, I always take Sundays off. I'll probably actually still work most of Sunday tomorrow anyways, kind of getting ready for this big week. Monday is that stream that we were going to do on Friday, but I wanted to do it live, so it's going to be kind of lessons from previous alt seasons, or at least things to keep in mind. Might even touch a little bit on cash positioning. And then going into this week, I think it's going to be another really big week of volatility. I don't think the volatility is going anywhere. I think there's definitely been a trend reversal, and I think there's going to be a lot of action going for it. So some good things to take advantage of. If we can continue to, just like yesterday and today, I think yesterday was probably, I'm really happy with how that timing worked out and why I wanted to stay away from alt trade ideas. If we can stay away from moving into coins, moving into alts, when ETH and other alts are pumping, or on the days that they're massively pumping, and even if you don't move in on those days, you move in a day or two later, like today, when they drop a little bit, that small difference, right? If you move into a coin that's down 20% versus where it is, in order for that thing to 2x, it's a lot easier. If you can lower your cost basis on those coins, you're going to do better, especially a month or a month or two out, if you can do it a few times. So avoiding buying on those days where everything's pumping, understanding that macro cycle, and then also digging in a little bit more micro and finding things like Tomo and Loom that can outpace. That's that's really all we need to focus on. And I think we can have another good week of doing just that. So excited for this week. Excited to do that stream. I'll see all you guys live on Monday. I'll also be in here a good chunk of the day tomorrow as I travel home. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Welcome to the new guys. I know we had like 2 or 3 more new guys. So I think we're kind of right at that peak number. The group is kind of at a perfect number. I'm going to keep it that way. I never want to fill it up. So I like everything going on. Good activity in there today, guys. I hope everyone had a really good weekend. Hopefully you had a relaxing weekend. You can rest up. Because like I said, it should be a good week. I'm going to sign off. I'll see you guys tomorrow shortly, and then Monday for the live stream. Peace.